Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 meeting of the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals. Start by reading a public notice. We'll start to announce the hearings. If your name is called, your case is called, please step up to the podium in a loud, clear voice. Slowly say your name and address for the record, please. Notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 at Town Hall West, 401 West Main Street, Islip, New York, on the following applications at the times listed as soon thereafter as they may be reached. At such time, all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard. Dated 4/11/2022, John M. Lorenzo, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, our first application tonight is number 234-22, Brian and Susan Kearns, to renew permit for two-family, family use only, Residence A District, west side of Greenwood Avenue, number 20A, approximately 800 feet south of Union Boulevard, East Islip, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Brian Kearns, 20A Greenwood Avenue.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
All right.
Yeah, you here seeking permission to renew permit two-family, family use only, based on age. Everything's in order, Mayor?
You,
Right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we grant the application for a period of 3 years.
All in favor? Application granted. See you in 3 years.
thank you.
Next application is number 235-22, Mohammed B. Hussein, to renew permit for two-family, family use only, Residence B District, north side of Dakota Avenue, number 211, 42.5 feet east of Brentwood Road, Bayshore, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is Mohammed Velayat Hussain, 211 Dakota Avenue, Bayshore, New York.
How are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Good. Seeking permission to renew permit for two-family, family use only. It's based on age. Your dad lives with you?
Yes,
Right. Everything's in order, Mayor? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Application granted. See you in 3 years.
Next application number 146-22, Olga V. Torres, to renew permit for two-family, family use only, Residence B District, east side of First Street, number 11, 180.72 feet north of Candlewood Road, Brentwood, New York. Good evening, ma'am. Your name and address for the record, please.
Maria Sias, 11 First Street, Brentwood, New York.
You here for Ms. Torres?
Yes.
Great. How are you?
S as in Sam, A as in Apple, E as in Eddie, Z as in Zebra. You're welcome.
You here seeking permission to renew permit two-family, family use only. It's based on age. Everything seems to be in order. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you.
Next application number 236-22, Stephanie A. Allen, permission to leave pool patio having a side yard of 3 feet instead of the required 6 feet, Residence A District, east side of Carly Road, number 123, 114 feet south of Weaver Road, West Sayville, New York. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Excuse me, Stephanie Allen, 123 Carly Drive, West Sayville, New York.
How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. You got a pool patio a little bit too close. We see that a lot.
I do.
I'm sure it's pavers, correct?
Yes.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Next application number 237-22, Manuel C. Barbecho, permission to leave roofed over patio 16 feet by 18 feet to detached garage having side yard of 5.3 feet instead of required 10 feet, floor area ratio of 28.3% instead of 25%, and to leave 4-foot fence and driveway site triangle where maximum 3 foot is permitted, Residence AA District, west side of Callis Path, number 192, 101.49 feet north of Columbus Avenue, Brentwood, New York. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York, agent for the applicant.
How are you tonight, Ms. Rella?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Sorry, I was looking at it. So we're here for the roof over patio. It is attached to the detached garage. The detached garage is on the CO as being original to the property and built in 1938. So what they did is they attached a roof over patio. And I think unfortunately, they were under the impression if the roof over were not to be attached to the detached garage, it would only require a 4-foot setback. So they just kept it in line with the detached garage. And that is also what's creating the FAR to go over from 25 to 28.3. And then as far as the 4-foot fence in the driveway site triangle, it's one of those picket fences that has kind of like a half circle on top. So the fence itself is really 3 feet and then has the 4-foot post. It's also about 8 feet from the town property, and then it's got another additional 10 feet in the shoulder. It's on Caleb's Path, which is a very busy road. They have a huge commercial property across the street. And if you look at all the neighbors on this, they all have that same 4-foot, either a chain link or something with like slats so that they can still see out of their driveway when they're backing up. So although it's written up as a site obstruction, it is, you can see through the fence. It's not a straight like blocking fence or anything like that.
So if it's a busy road, doesn't that argue against any relief from a side obstruction?
I think because it's set so far back, I did bring a picture of it. So the fence is, like I said, it's 10 feet up, and then there's another 10 feet of shoulder. So when you're backing out of the driveway, you have about 20 feet of room for you to look behind you before you would ever go into another vehicle.
I just don't know.
I mean, we've never criticized this as triangle in Minnesota that I recall.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
don't
was.
think it's can.
But we could,
I know we can, but.
to our own peril.
Yeah, exactly. The first accident is going to be on one of us. I don't have broad shoulders, man.
For a big insurance policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as the board member said, I don't remember ever granting relief for a side trial.
I don't even think we have the jurisdiction. Well, Mr. Single thinks we do.
Doesn't matter, because we're not inclined to do it anyway. So
No, I think it's an intellectual debate that one day we should have.
One day we should.
Mr. Garbarino, I think this is calls for like a 9-page decision.
Yes.
Over a cigar, we'll have
Yeah,
it,
would you
okay?
write a memo on that, please, Mr. Garbarino?
So unfortunately, we're gonna have to take that fence out of it.
Client is aware it's a safety issue.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a question.
Motion to deny that motion for the application regarding the fence in the driveway site triangle.
All in favor?
Next application number 238-22, Johnny D. Delgado Aguilar. Permission to leave cellar entrance having a side yard of 7 feet instead of permitted encroachment setback of 8 feet. Driveway on side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence B District south side of Orange Street, number 28, 541 feet west of Boulevard Avenue, Central Islip. Welcome back, Ms. Trello.
Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York. We are here to maintain the driveway with to being on the side property instead of the required 4-foot setback. And for the cellar entrance, having a side yard of 7 feet instead of the permitted encroachment of 8 feet. Typically, the cellar entrances hug the house. This one is protruding into the yard because there used to be an attached shed that was there for about 20 years, which they just removed. So that's why it kind of sticks out instead of coming around the other way.
Never to be enclosed?
Never being closed.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
I have a question. When did you first start wearing glasses?
You told me when I have a hard application, if I wear my glasses, it kind of throws you off. So I wore them today.
No, clearly it didn't. She didn't get the side distance triangle.
Yeah, that's.
I
But
only
it's a
wear.
good try, Ms. Trello.
Do you always wear glasses?
I don't. I usually wear my contacts,
But
but
once
I-
before you wore glasses.
once before, like
You don't
a
think we
year or two
notice
ago.
every little thing on the side? I
So
don't
do
observe
you want the
anything.
glasses or the contacts? Which one?
That's your call. Whichever looks very. I don't think he's allowed to come in.
Yeah.
It's very charming.
Thank you.
Anyone have any further questions? Board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application number 239-22, Araceli Salgado, permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to High Town Code Section 68-602, with an apartment having a gross floor area of 242 square feet instead of the required 300 square feet, Residence A District, west side of Whitetail Lane, number 234, 91.6 feet south of Half Mile Road, Central Islip, New York. Mrs. Trella, the floor is yours.
Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services, with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York. So we are here to establish an undersized accessory apartment. However, the square footage says 242, and I was trying to find a discrepancy because the survey has it as 288 square feet. So when I looked at the floor plans, I realized that the zoning counted the bedroom, hallway, and bathroom, but did not count the kitchen area. So the accurate apartment size is 287.5 square feet. So it's just slightly under the 300. It is a one occupant accessory apartment. The bedroom size adheres to the Board of Health requirements, and the building department has sent out an inspector to make sure that it is adequate, and they were okay with the size of the apartment, so long as the board was.
Yeah. And the driveway didn't comply, failed engineering.
It failed, but it was because of repairs, not because of specifications relating to the accessory apartment building code.
you'll
So
have-
they'll be able to do the repairs, which I told them to just hold off until the hearing, and then engineering will go back out and re-inspect.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? The board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Let's amend,
Or-
can we amend the call in the meeting?
To have the apartment size 287.5 instead of the 242 in the call.
That's fine.
Make a motion to amend the call of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Now does anyone wish to be heard in this
Sorry.
application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Nicole, you'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application as amended for a period of 3 years.
All in favor? Application granted.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a great night. Next application number 240-22, Catherine and Daniel R. O'Brien Jr. Permission to leave in-ground pool having side yard 13 feet instead of the required 14 feet. Residence A District, west side of Horizon Avenue, number 2212, 300 feet north of 2nd Street, Ronkonkoma, New York. Is there anyone here on this application? Second call, please, Mr. Chairman.
Call.
Next application number 241-22, Bruce and Barbara Brown Yard and Taylor Gershio Brown Yard. Permission to erect a one-story addition, 10.5 feet by 15.3 feet, leaving a side yard of 9.8 feet instead of the required 14 feet, and total side yards of 20.2 feet instead of the required 28 feet. To erect a one-story addition, all having a floor area ratio of 26.08% instead of the permitted 25%, to establish two-family family use only pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-419.1, Residence B District's west side of Seafield Lane, number 26, 560 feet south of Copper Lane, Bay Shore, New York. Mr. Graham, good evening.
Good evening. Glenn Graham with Graham Associates, 256 Orinoco Drive, Brightwaters, New York. The Brown Yards would like to establish a two-family, family use only apartment. In doing so, we need to create a small addition to the house. That addition from the site plan that I submitted is in line with the existing house, so we would not be creating any new precedent. And believe the FAR is very minor, we're just slightly over. I believe the board routinely grants up to 30%.
I thought you were only licensed to do these over 3.
Yeah. Family friends here. So I got to cheat once in a while. And I did wear my glasses for you.
Great. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, you'll take a motion. All in favor?
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Next application is number 242-22, Thomas W. and Lori E. Spencer. Permission to erect a garage, 24 feet by 30 feet attached by breezeway, leaving a front yard of 55 feet instead of required 60 feet. Total side yards, 29.6 feet instead of the required 36 feet. Residence AA District, east side of Sylvan Avenue, number 645. 259.14 feet south of Purick Street, Bayport, New York. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself on this matter.
Good evening, Mr. Rocco.
Good evening. How is everyone doing this evening?
And well, how about you?
Good, thank you. John Bracco, architect, 111 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. On behalf of the applicants, Thomas and Laurie Spencer. We're here before you this evening in regards to a proposed attached garage and breezeway addition. In regards to the front yard variance, we're seeking 55 feet where 60 feet is required. This equates to an 8% relaxation, which we feel is minor in nature. In addition, this property is a AA zone in which typically a 40-foot front yard setback is the requirement. In regards to the total side yard setback variance, we're proposing the new garage to have a setback of 18.1 feet from the south side property line, which does meet the single side yard setback for the AA zone. However, because the existing house is only 11.5 feet from the north side property line, we fall a little short on the total side yards. This equates to about a 17% relaxation. In regards to precedents, we were able to find two other properties in the immediate neighborhood with similar grants. Cases 877-03 and 409-17, which are both for 614 Sylvan Avenue, and which on one application, front and side yard variances were granted, and on the other occasion, another side yard variance was granted. And case number 905-16, which is 559 North Gillette Avenue, in which both front and side yard variances were granted. Therefore, we feel the requests are within the nature and character of the neighborhood, and if the board has any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Are those two precedents within 500 feet?
I believe they are. I know when I call Dan, he does those for me. He always does them within 500 feet.
I'm sorry, when you call who?
Dan Burgos in zoning, he helps me out with them, and he always does it within a 500-foot radius. Yes.
So John, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I just now noticed, and I'm sure Dan was very thorough. Generally, when people attach a garage to a single-family home
Yes.
by breezeway,
Mm-hmm.
they're attempting to achieve something that the main house can get that the detached garage can't get. Usually it's height.
Yes. Yeah.
So I see you're observing the 18-foot side yard required in AA,
That's correct.
and you're asking for the variance on the total side yards required in AA.
Yes.
But why isn't he saying that your front yard setback required would have only been 40 feet?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I had a couple of conversations with him about it, and he said that there was something in the code that if he did an average of some of the houses adjacent, and it was something about the average that he had to go by the average, which was actually 60 feet.
So that's the second time in 20 years of hearings that I'll see that employed.
I
got it.
had never seen that before
Thank you.
myself.
Everybody knows what
Yeah,
that
we
was.
had
Yep,
that
yep.
About a year ago. Right?
Okay, great.
Down in West Islip?
Yes, on second time.
Well, 3 months to you.
Seems like a year.
You're so young.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Yeah, I
Application
understand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Mr. Messina abstained.
Next, application number 243-22, Marcos E. Diaz and Nydia R. Torres, permission to erect a second-story addition, 26.4 feet by 30.5 feet. Leave a side yard of 9 feet instead of required 14 feet, floor area ratio of 25.6% instead of permitted 25%. Resident district, south side of Story Avenue, 57, 240 feet east of Pineville Road, Central Islip. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Nydia Torres, 57 Story Avenue, Central Islip, New York, 11722.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
You're seeking permission to erect a second-story addition.
Yes.
You're going right over the existing house, which
Yes.
holds 9 feet now?
Yes.
Floor area ratio 25.6 instead of 25, we see up to 30. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion. All in favor? Application granted.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
great night.
much.
Next application is number 244-22, Christopher P. and Lisa A. Moran. Permission to erect a second-story addition, leaving a side yard of 7.7 feet instead of the required 14 feet, total side yards of 18.3 feet instead of the required 28 feet. One-story addition, 1.9 feet by 21.2 feet, porch 8 feet by 31.4 feet, leaving side yards of 8.1 feet and 10.6 feet instead of the required 14 feet, total side yards of 18.7 feet instead of the required 28 feet, having floor area ratio of 30% instead of 3 to 25%, to leave roofed over patio having side yard of 7.7 feet instead of the required 14 feet, and driveway on side property line instead of required 4 feet, Residence B District, east side of North Ocean Avenue, number 35, 275.77 feet south of Dwight Court, Islip, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, 11782.
How are you tonight, Mr. Burton?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the boards. Representing the property owner, as stated in the call, we're looking to construct a roofed-over front porch with non-conforming side yards, a second-story addition with non-conforming side yards, and an increase in the FAR to 30% instead of the required 25%. The last item on the call has to do with the driveway, and as I'm sure everybody can notice, that the driveway is not on the property owner's property, on the neighbor's, so we need to pull that back, unquestionable.
So as you know, we only could see up to the property line, so.
Correct.
Well, the house holds all the side yards that are non-conforming now. You're up to 30%, which we see up to. You always keep it right at that number. Appreciate
Exactly. Yep. Yes, sir.
that. Any objection from planning? Does anyone wish?
I don't understand. You're going up a second story. You're right on top of the property line. With your neighbor, I'm not sure what I see. Is that a house there? Because it's writing over it. Is that a house there?
Yeah, it looks like the house next to the road.
No, the other way.
No, that's.
There you go.
Smells like it.
That's a house, right?
Right there.
How far away is it?
The boat's in between.
The house and property.
Is it boat?
See the white is that-
On a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a boat.
It's not a boat.
No, it's a boat.
So how far away is that? And I don't understand why planning wouldn't have an objection to that. I mean, okay, I understand that, but those are the mistakes of the past.
I don't know if you can call them mistakes, but at this point, it's a character
Okay,
nature of
so,
the neighborhood.
yeah, I don't know how happy you'd be to have that situation.
I wouldn't.
Okay, and that's my
But
point.
I
So
also-
that doesn't mean that we should be just granting it just because we've made a mistake consistently over time. That's a tough ask.
Also,
me.
remember, if this is the character nature of the neighborhood, I might not be happy with it, but I also would know
Okay,
that.
so what are the other four factors and where do they weigh out? It's a self-created hardship, right? It's gonna create problems with respect to runoff and other things to the adjoining property, right?
I don't know.
You want to continue? I mean, the fact is that nature and character is one factor, and clearly it tips in their favor, but it's only one of five.
How's
I'd
it
like
holding
to
runoff?
I'm sorry.
No, how's it causing the problem with runoff?
Right,
When you're that close, all it takes is some wind, and all the rain blows off of your roof onto your neighbor's property, or into your neighbor's house, or onto whatever.
I don't think we could say that without an expert. I would just like to chime in on our vice chairman. It always in the back of my mind that when you're that close, you have 50% of the property they require. When you're that close, and then to build a second floor. It just-
Exacerbates it.
Yeah.
There's
I like
also
that word.
privacy interests.
Exacerbate.
You, Mr. Wexler, always talk about precedent, and there's
It's
six
true.
precedents.
Lost on your own
that you
petard
just
tonight,
had
Mr.
for second
Wexler.
story
Don't use
additions.
precedent against me.
Wait,
Precedent
but
is-
now he's seen the light.
Precedent is only a tool. We were told that one. Randy, the house is already a second story.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm looking at seems to indicate that they're adding a second story over an existing portion of the house. Am I wrong?
No, they
Okay.
maintaining the same setback.
Correct.
So it's staying in line.
I have no problem.
I think because there is sufficient precedent, just one way. I'm holding back. We may have to let this one go, but in the future, I think.
You're gonna look at 5 factors, right, Mr. Wexler?
Yes,
That's my point.
I look at 6 factors.
Thank you.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Please. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further enlightening questions? Mr. Nicolio, Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
Based on precedent, only, I'll make a motion to grant the.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right.
Have a great night.
He's hanging.
Oh,
with
you
us
got
too.
one
I'm
more,
hanging.
okay. Next application was adjourned from March 29th, 2022. Number 202-22 Morgan A. Greenbauer and Maggie M. Calamari. Permission to erect a 1-story addition with a side yard of 7 feet, 2-story addition with a side yard of 9.7 feet, 42 feet, and total side yards of 16.7 feet, instead of required 28 feet. Residential district, west side of Goldstone Avenue, number 92, 514.92 feet south of Brook Street, Sayville, New York. Mr. Broody, welcome back.
Good evening again,
Could you
Charles.
start by telling us why this was adjourned?
Oh, this was adjourned because the call was incorrect on the second addition in the rear yard.
Thank you.
Again, Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, representing the property owner. As stated in the call, homeowner seeks permission to construct a 1-story side yard addition with non-conforming setback, a rear 2-story addition with non-conforming setback. The 2-story rear addition is in line with the existing 2-story house.
Since we're on the subject of precedent,
Yes,
you have the proposed 1-story is 7 instead of 14.
that is correct.
Okay.
We do have precedent.
Good precedent or
I think we have good precedent.
good precedent?
Outstanding precedent.
Yeah.
Mr. Broody.
Just recently, we had a house that had, we approved some short side yards, recently in Goldstone, right?
That's piling on, Mr. Chairman. I think Mr. Wexler deserves better.
I have some friends out
You're a one, Mr.
there. I'm looking over at Sullivan, but I get no.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor? Application granted.
Next
Potatoes was
application,
cheap.
number 245-22, Rose N. Galliato, and trustee, Rose L. Galliato, living trust. Permission to subdivide lot into 2 parcels. Lot 1 to leave a 2-story dwelling on lot having area of 17,724 square feet, instead of required 20,000 square feet. And lot number 2 to erect a 2-story dwelling on conforming parcel, Residence Double A District, southeast corner of Joshua's Path, 23, Rock Avenue, Central Heights of New York. Mr. Broody, the floor is yours.
Again, Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, representing the property owner. As stated in the call, we're looking to subdivide this property into 2 lots, and the lots are almost natural in nature. The second lot for the new home is conforming to all the required setbacks and lot size. The front portion, or lot 1 that's on the corner, is undersized to the zoning area. The house is existing and is CO'd along
bigger
with the
lot.
detached garage.
CO'd on a bigger lot.
Yes,
Subdivided.
well,
So all you're really seeking here is 2,700, 2,300 square feet, right, of lot area.
of lot area. And there is precedence for the setbacks on that corner house that are there in the neighborhood.
There's no variance.
No, there's no variance. The house is CO'd and so is the detached
Yeah,
garage.
it's just a lot area.
Correct.
Deirdre, planning, have any objections?
Precedent.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this
There you go
application?
again.
Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take motion.
Sorry, John.
All in favor?
Aye. Have a great
Application
night.
granted. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Next application number 246-22, Sylvia C. Countess and Andrea C. Banker and Anna Warwick-Weiser. Permission to leave shed 12.1 feet by 12.2 feet, having second front yard of 8.7 feet instead of required 27 feet, and not having 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, Residence A District, northwest corner of Weldon Street, number 1, and Comac Road, Islip. Is there anyone here on this application? There being no one here, second call, please, Mr. Chairman. Next application, next application, Michael and Susan Amendola. Permission to reconstruct dwelling and erect two-story and second-story additions, leaving front yard of 32.33 feet instead of required 40 feet, and side yard of 13.5 feet instead of required 14 feet. Residence A District, south side of Squaw Lane, number 23, 169.22 feet west of Indian Head Drive, Sable. Name and address, sir, please, for the record.
Michael Amendola, 23 Squaw Lane, Sayville, New York. 782.
Please keep your voice up, sir,
Sure.
and speak into the microphone, okay?
Okay.
How are you tonight?
Okay, good. Thank you.
So permission to reconstruct dwelling. Front yard 32.3.
It's actually, I brought it up to him. I don't know why it says 32, but it's really 39. It says,
Why do you have to reconstruct it?
if you look at the survey, the hatched area is what we're doing. It's
Why
30
why do you have
39.
to reconstruct it? What happened to it that it needs to be reconstructed?
Doing renovations to the first floor and putting a second floor on.
So your survey has a setback of 39.8
Right,
front yard setback.
right.
So why is it 32.33?
I don't know. That's what they wrote, and I called them up, and I showed them on the survey, and they said the side had was maintaining, and I said, but if you look at the front, it says 39.9, and I tried 3 times, and they kept writing 32 point whatever, but you could see it clearly shows 39.8, I believe. But I didn't want to get delayed anymore, so I didn't know what to
Can
do.
we amend this?
I don't want. It doesn't sound.
It's actually,
I'm not sure that they're wrong.
unless I'm reading it wrong, it looks like it's
Hang on a
39
second.
point.
We're trying to figure
It says
it out.
right here.
To what? Sometimes the surveyor
I'm
calls out.
keeping the same front line as the existing, yeah.
Where's the leader bound?
What happens when you have old people?
It's going right to the,
Reading glasses,
I think
the
it's going to
lights.
heavy black line. But
it could be,
this stuff here, look
but even so, it's not 32.
at that. They used an old one. We call it the foundation.
This is 39.8. So 39.
To the black.
Whoa.
Yeah, thank you. I was looking.
It does say 39.8, correct?
Yeah, the hatch is flat.
So even if
So
it's
it's 2 foot from there.
I don't know where I really don't know where they got that 33-foot number from.
It says 32.33 and then
Right.
right now it's
Sometimes they'll call the second story as recess.
The second story is flush on the front and back and set in on the sides.
Oh, Maybe they think we
Hang on.
That's just not.
Sure. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you the,
That's fine.
all right, does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the application in accordance with the plan presented in the file from C2C Architectural Design LLC. That dated 12/3/20.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Application great. Have a good night, sir.
All right, thank you, you too.
Next application, number 248-22, Katie Hamill. Permission to leave pool house with portico having side yard of 8.6 feet instead of required 10 feet. Roof shed having side yard of 0.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence double A district east side of Walnut Avenue, number 741. 12.75 feet south of Benedict Street, Bohemia. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Katie Hamill, 741 Walnut Avenue, Bohemia.
How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you have a pool house and a portico. A little small on the sides. They look like they measured off the fence, as Mary would say. And a shed 0.5 instead of required 4. It's the minimum, a small shed right there in the back. This is a
How
long,
deep is your lot?
it's deep, 425.
Very deep. It's very awkward.
Yeah, it's
I have a very similar lot.
Yeah.
Be wide about 75.
It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah. Trying to use use the land to best of its ability, but it's pretty awkward.
I have no problem with it. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. You too.
Next application, number 249-22, James V. and Nicole A. Villallo. Permission to leave one-story addition, 12.2 feet by 14 feet, having a floor area ratio of 26.9%. 5%. Driveway on side property line, and concrete walk on each side and rear property lines. Not having a price setback of 4 feet each, residential district. Southeast corner of First Street, 11 foot next road, Islip, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
James Valello, 11 First Street, West Islip, New York, 11795. I am the property owner.
How are you tonight, sir?
Very good, thank you.
Good. You have a one-story addition. You bumped your FAR up to 26.9. We see up to 30. So that seems to be in our wheelhouse. Driveway on side property line. It goes all the way back, right?
Yes, sir.
Show it all the way back.
Different marks also.
Excuse me?
Supplied different measurements also. I supplied pictures,
Yep.
letters from my neighbors, phone numbers that nobody has any problems
Yep.
with it.
So you only have a few spots here. The rest of it has some vegetation
Yes,
and split up on it.
there's not a problem with drainage. The property next to me is higher, so the water all goes up to the street.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wax, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
All in favor? Application granted. Good night.
Thank you, board. Have a good night.
You too.
Next application, 250-22, Fernando Rivas, permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68602, Residence A District. Cathedral Street, 425 feet west of Broadway, Brentwood, New York. Ma'am, sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Fernando Rivas, 91 Taylor Street.
How are you tonight?
Thank you, and the young lady with you.
Just my daughter, in case.
I'm here to translate.
Okay, just give us your name and address, please.
Jacqueline Rivas, 91 Tabor Street, Brentwood, New York.
Thank you.
How are you tonight?
Okay.
So you're here to establish accessory apartment. Apartment's 534 square feet. Driveway complies. Looks like everything's in order. Owner occupied. You live there?
Yes.
anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicolia, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application for 3 years.
All in favor? Application granted, see you in 3 years.
Well done. Thank you. Next application, number 251-22, Kristen and Matthew Belovich. Permission to erect a second-story addition leaving side yard 11.4 feet, instead of required 14 feet to erect a second-story roof over garage, having a side yard of 13.2 feet, instead of required 14 feet, second-story addition, all having total side yards, 4.6 feet, still be required 28 feet, floor area ratio of 28.7%, 5%, east side of Howard Avenue, 621, 112.05 South Berlin Lane, Islip, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Matthew Belovich, 621 Alwick Avenue, West Islip, New York.
How are you tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
So your second-story addition directly over the dwelling. Dwelling holds 11.4 now. The garage holds a 13.2. 28.7 instead of 25. We can see up to 30. Any objection from planning? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, take a motion. All in favor? Application granted. Have a great
Thank you.
night.
Have a good night.
Next application, number 252-22, Wesley LaFleur and Aileen Juan Nassau. Permission to install an ground pool, leaving a 14 feet, and pool patio, leaving a rear yard of 4 feet, instead of required 6 feet. Residence District, northwest corner, Jefferson Road, number 1, County Road, Oakdale, New York. Ma'am, your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Deborah Yelvington of Dynamic Permits, 20 Waterford Drive, Wheatley Heights, New York, 11798.
How are you tonight?
Good. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm here to represent my clients, Mr. and Mrs. Latore, and they've been owners of this house since 2014. We are requesting from the board a reduced rear yard setback for the proposed in-ground pool. If you would please note, we submitted a revised plot plan, and we are no longer requesting relief for the rear yard for the patio space. That will be maintained at 6 feet, the proposed patio. And we are requesting the pool with a 10-foot setback
Instead of the 8?
instead of the 8 feet, correct?
So you're going to comply on one side and have 10 foot instead of 8.
Right.
And then we're amending to remove the patio from the call.
Yes.
Take a motion for amendment? All in favor?
Oh, I didn't give
I'm
my other.
sorry, what you were holding up, is that what we have in our hand?
Yes, I had just accented it with the highlighters to show the pool setback.
Okay.
But as long as you have that, and I had some criteria from the neighborhood. I had 2 neighbors adjacent, letters of support. I believe we sent them into Austin unless it was short notice. Okay, great. That's adjacent neighbors saying how the Latores are good neighbors and keep the property very well. And that we're conforming with the neighborhood, which seems to be flooded with many pools. I can submit the Google Earth photos.
No, we're good. Just for future reference, we can barely see you down there with this wonderful lighting and stuff we have here in this great building, so that's, we can't see that.
Okay.
Every time I'm gonna complain about it.
Okay, I have also a couple other neighboring parcels to mention, if you need that at this
I don't
time.
think we need any more, unless you want to put it on record, but I think you're in.
Yeah, we're not hung up on precedent.
I understand that. Okay, then I'm fine with that. That's
okay?
my
You can
presentation.
keep going if you like, but I don't think you need to, but if you'd like.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion. All in favor?
As amended.
As amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted as amended.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I have the next one too.
Have a great day.
Next application, number 159-22, Roger A. Kalinowski and Lauren A. Funaro. Permission to install an in-ground pool with a water feature, leaving a rear yard of 6 feet instead of required 14 feet. To install a pool patio, leaving rear yard landscaping of 28.7% instead of the required 40%. New York. Welcome back. Your name and address.
Deborah Yeldington, agent for the owner, Dynamic Permits, located at 20 Waterford Drive, Wheatley Heights, New York, 11798, along with the owners present.
Roger Kalinowski, 545 Rockaway Street, West Isaac.
Mr. Kalinowski, any relation to Charlie Bonner? No?
Would it help our case?
I ran against the school board.
Oh, really? Same spelling?
You voted for your opponent? You win? Yeah. Shucks.
He later resigned.
Well, you showed them. You showed Charlie Kalinowski.
You can't elect me.
I won't let you.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Mr. Chairman, our case was adjourned from March 15th, so we're here to, we presented the revised plot plan to the board already.
Why did you adjourn?
We were requesting an 8-foot rear
More
yard, or
right?
was it 6 foot first? And then 8 foot wasn't,
So where's the water? I don't see that.
so, well, it's just a thick wall shown. It's going to be water coming over a wall, which is 12 inches by the width of the pool. So 10 feet to whether it's the waterfall or the edge of the pool, if it's all together as one, that would be the point to begin the
So what
structure.
is the distance, I'm sorry, from the property line to the outer edge of the water feature?
In the
Is that 10 feet?
10 feet, correct. Some designs have it built into the side of the pool, some have it as a separate, so at least we know that that's our point of reference, whether it's pool, waterfall attached to the pool, or in back of the pool.
So you want to amend the call to read 10 feet instead of 6 feet, that's what you're saying?
Correct, to 10 feet. Yep, we reduced the pool width a bit to fit that with the waterfall as per the owner's request.
Okay,
And we meet the 14 feet on the opposite side.
let's make
I'll
a
make the
motion.
motion to
Second.
All in favor? Rear yard landscape at 28.7 instead of 40.
What do we normally do on
I'm trying to think.
The nice thing is we don't see many of them anymore. This is the inverse of rear yard occupancy, which was the impervious surfaces.
Right.
So since the code has been amended to regulate the inverse, we don't see many landscape relaxations, but I do believe the ones you have seen, you have mostly right.
At 40%?
What is required?
Right, they're down to 28.
Can we go to Johnson?
Oh, can I offer some input on that?
Can I just interrupt?
Not
one
yet.
second? Deidre, what do we have for rear yard landscape? That's what I was thinking. This 30 is a nice round. Would they consider, or they may have to consider it, 30%? Just so we have a nice round number, because it is kind of reaching deep.
Okay.
It's like two papers you gotta remove.
Yeah. but the
And
prop-
I know that you can't see the board as well, but
can you
even
ask
on
the
that,
question First, or you want to, you want to dodge it? Okay, you can come back.
possibly, it's the issue that the back door and the area of the pool with that patio is going to be secured with a fence and basically unusable for the other, 3 seasons of the year. So the patio on the side of the house is really only full, year-round area to reside and have furniture and recreate.
Going back to, I understand what you're saying, but I'm looking and I don't see a directional or compass on this. So if you're looking at the diagram plot plan and you look to the right, you have all this pavement. That's not going to affect ingress and egress of the house.
But they also get penalized because it's on the side corner lot, right? Like this.
Right.
This is all can't be used, but they
So
get
if this-
penalized here.
If this was on the side of the not corner lot, they'd have all this.
All
Now
this.
he loses this.
Because it's on a corner lot.
So you get to penalize.
He gets penalized.
That's just-
I understand what you're saying if it was a different set of circumstances here, but for this one.
All right, can I ask Mr. Garbarino to put in bold that it's a corner lot, so we don't set this as precedent? Bold.
Bold.
And italics, and italics.
Does anyone wish to be heard this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Mr. Wax, I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion that we grant the application as amended in bold.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Take
Next
care.
application, 253-22, George D. Delario, shed 10 feet by 24, 21 feet, having side yard of 0.6 feet instead of 4 feet. That having 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, and 2 patio having side yard of 0.6 feet instead of 4 feet. District, east side of Gladstone Avenue, number 105, 155 south of 6th Street, West Island, New York. Sir, welcome, your name and address.
Hi, George Alario, 105 Gladstone Avenue, West Islip.
How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Living the dream. 12, so that, I'm sorry, I was just measuring something in progress. So you have a shed, a little too close, not 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling. When did they changed the code a few years back from 10 to 20 feet? How long has that shed been there?
We put it in 2001.
2001?
Yeah.
I think you make the cut then. It's supposed to be 10 feet. It appears to be about 12 feet from the most front part of your house. That's the worst English I've ever heard, but I took it. So I think you're right. Frontal portion of your
Been here a long
dwelling.
time, you know that's not.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take
I'll make a motion to grant that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Next application, number
Thank you.
254-22, Charles Sacco, for the accessory structure, 8.5 feet by 19 feet, having side yard of 0.2 feet. Instead of the required 4 feet, pool having a side yard of 10 feet, hot tub having a side yard of 4 feet, instead of required 14 feet, each pool deck having a side yard of 4 feet, instead of required 10 feet, and driveway and side property lines not having required setback of 4 feet, each front yard occupancy of 82%, instead of permitted 35%, outside of Bay Shore Road. Number 17, 174.49 feet west of Sullivan Street, Bay Shore, New York. Sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Salim Ibrahim. I reside at 254-10 Francis Lewis Boulevard, Rosedale, New York. I'm here representing owner in regards to the application, relaxation for the hot tub and the pool and the deck in the back of the property. The deck has elevation only on 2 feet and surrounded by a fence of 6 feet all around. It does has movable cover on the left side, fabric that is here for a while, and the issue also with the front yard coverage for the asphalt for the driveway. We're asking relief for those applications.
So let's go through this. I apologize. You have an accessory structure 0.9 instead of required 4. I'm assuming it's the fabric shelter.
Correct, yes. It's movable, yes, correct.
What is a fabric shelter?
I have pictures here. It's just like a cover.
Can you hand them up to? Okay.
You got 7 copies.
So it's cardboard.
Correct.
Card 10. All right, we'll get back to that.
Yeah. Is that, if I can ask, if you look just over here for the black circle, I see pavement. It's what the old days had it. What is that? Is that the side of the road?
Oh, this is a picture showing what the fabric is. This is not exactly the house itself.
Oh.
This is the
yours.
picture.
Oh, this is just a representation.
Correct, exactly. Because
That's not your Volkswagen Jetta?
no. Because what happened is you have the
Okay,
pieces hiding by the fence. You do have a gate, so from the street you don't see it. So it's a better presentation of what exactly they're talking about the fabric.
I would have to think, sir,
Yes.
that a good storm, this thing's getting ripped down. So
think there's an environmental concern?
No,
Life of the structure?
I don't
Weather
know.
conditions? Things can blow from one property to another?
Let's take, they have the rivets, the bolt rivets on the left on the asphalt.
Can't be bolted.
I think they use stakes.
That's what I don't, that's not my
It's
question.
mobile. That's exactly right.
That's my question.
There's a fabric, is not structure attached to the house either. Go back.
Yeah, I don't know why we'd be giving a variance for something that could just be disassembled and moved.
Correct. But that's what the process was with the application, so.
I think, all right, we'll get back to that in a second. The pool, it's not too far off. Life of the pool, if you have to rebuild the pool or whatnot,
that'd be a big
you'd have
hardship.
you'd have to move it. Well, if it, sometimes it happens, pool springs a leak or panel
How high
ruts
is
up.
the deck?
2 feet, 24 inches, yes. And the survey shows that, we have the surveyor show the elevation of the deck also.
And the hot tub, you know how I feel about hot tubs.
How do you
Front,
feel about it? Do you like it?
if you can't cannonball in them, they're not a pool.
You can drown in them. They're a pool.
You're
I
right.
agree with him. You can see on that. You can drown in it.
But the ordinance for 14 feet
Also,
is
my
not,
kids can swim laps in the hot tub, so I like the cannonball.
the
My mom said I'm
ordinance.
not allowed to do cannonball in the hot tub.
The ordinance was not written for people swimming in the pool. It was too close to the side property line. Front yard occupancy, we see up to 40% in the front yard occupancy as the most. So it's at 82%.
Yes.
That would have to be cut down to make it 40% at max.
Okay.
So however you get there, or your
We can
client gets there,
also, we're planning and figure out also.
you'd have to figure it out, so you can contact planning and figure something on that. All right, does any, and that fabric shelter, it's just gonna have to be moved. It's not a structure, it's something
Well,
that's,
it's a structure.
well,
There's just barely a structure.
yeah.
You take the balls out.
And also-
Defined under the code very loosely, as you know. What is the definition of some of the component parts? That's it? I thought it had to be attached. No. Wow, treehouse is a structure.
You know,
Yeah, they know all about that.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? I feel like
I
someone.
do
needs to
have,
be heard.
I'm sorry, I do have the owner also there, see if you have some questions for him. regarding the
Come on up,
application.
sir, and name and address for the record.
17 West Bay Shore Road, Bay Shore, New York.
Did anyone want to be heard?
Say that again, sir.
17 West Bay Shore Road, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
How are you tonight?
What was that?
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Could be better if before this one.
Well, it's going pretty good, too.
Okay.
So what's up?
Just I got here in the middle of it because I had a client I couldn't get out of work, so I was just wondering. So what is the situation right now?
The issue we were speaking to your professional about regarding is the, you have 82% front yard occupancy. Code says 35, we always give up to 40%. So you'd have to get down to 40% for your front yard occupancy. You can speak at planning, you can figure out ways to get there, but we can't approve 82%.
There's no way because I didn't know about that, and when I did the whole driveways, because Bay Shore Road is a very busy road, there's accidents on it all the time. So when I made that driveway like that, it's a lot for the safety because there's been like 2 accidents in front of my house already with pulling in and out of there.
I understand, but you have 82% of your front yard paved. The code says 35. How do we, if it was less than where it's at, we may have an argument there, but it's, the whole front yard's paved. So we can't, if we see up to 40%, we can find out, speak with planning and figure that out. The fabric shelter, it's gonna have to be removed. Or moved.
Which fabrics up? Which shelters?
The car tent,
Oh, the tent on the side?
yeah.
That's not there's nothing that it's not. I thought it had to be if it was like mounted into the ground. Like there's nothing. It's just
No,
It's
it's
freestanding.
some of its component parts. I just learned that, right? Well said.
it's just
That's why it'll be easy to move. It's not fixed to the ground.
where does it and where can I
Anywhere
move?
you want to put
I mean that's where my car is.
No, not any way you want to
Well,
put
you
it.
know what I mean.
Does it-
Any
I mean-
compliant
Any
place.
compliant
Any
place.
compliant place. stay there. We can't regulate fabric things.
It's got to be 4 feet off your side yard,
It gotta be 4 feet from the
off the side yard, yeah. The pool, the deck, the hot tub, I don't see an issue with. It's just the front yard occupancy and the fabric shelter.
Fabric subsidy to move us to the. It's with this.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does anyone else wish to be heard? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Well, for the electric pool, that's right.
All in favor?
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Have a great night.
Be safe.
Take care.
We're going to go back to some second calls. First, Catherine and Daniel R. O'Brien Jr. Is there anyone here for that application? Number 240-22. Also, second call, 246-22. Sylvia C. Counis, Andrea C. Banker, and Anna Guarizar, excuse me. Permission to leave shed 12.1 feet by 12.2 feet. The second front yard of 8.17 instead of required 27 feet. Not having 20 feet behind the front of the property dwelling. Residence A District Northwest corner of Woburn Street, number 1, Comac Road, Islip, New York. Use your name and address for the record.
Good evening.
See how badly I put it.
My name is Sylvia Kaunas. I'm the owner at 1 Weldon Street, Islip, New York, 11751.
How are you tonight?
And with you?
My daughter.
My name is Anna Jerkisar from 1 Weldon.
Close.
Yeah, a little
It's
close.
horribly
Yeah.
close.
Same address, 1 Weldon Street.
I apologize to you.
How are you tonight?
Good, good, thank you.
Good. So you want to leave a shed in the second front yard?
Yes, we're here to request a permit to keep the existing fence on the shed. We purchased the house in 2017, and that came with the it was a rotten fence.
Yeah, so it was a wooden fence, same height, 6 feet. It's shared with our neighbors. So when we decided to, since it was rotting, we decided to exchange it, and it was agreed upon with our neighbors. Nobody, since the whole process has been put out there, none of our neighbors have had any complaints as well as with the shed.
You talking about the fence? I didn't hear you.
The fence.
So the ordinance was changed a few years back and said if you have a property 11,250 or smaller, you can have the fence where it is. You're 11,259, a little bit over, but we give a little leniency on that. So I think you're okay with the fence. The shed's in the second front yard, Comac Road. I don't have an issue with it.
No.
You guys have an issue with it at all? No. I think you're all right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Nope. Hold on, get Neil that. Is it right? Oh,
She
I'm
nicely
sorry.
presented what she's asking for.
Oh,
It's 9 square feet.
sorry. I assumed the shed. All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
And to include the fence if that such variance is necessary.
Yes.
All in favor? Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Our next application, number 255-22, Venture One Acquisitions LLC. Permission to erect a warehouse 210 feet by 365 feet regular. With a front yard of 59.1 feet instead of required 100 feet. Anything less than the minimum required front yard landscaping of 40 feet. Special corridor district. No north side of Veterans Memorial Highway, 927.44 feet east of Fifth Avenue, Concord, New York. Counselor, your name and address for the record, please, as well as those who will.
Good evening. Garrett Gray, Weber Law Group, 290 Broad Hollow Road, Millville, New York, 11747 for the applicants.
How are you tonight?
Fantastic. How are you?
There you go. It's great.
Last but not least, it's like you see me come. So it's good to be back before everybody here. Again, I represent Venture One Acquisitions, the owner of the subject property. Joining me today are Ryan Stoller, Mark Good, and Jeff Calley, all principals of Venture One, as well as Karthi Shanmugan from Nelson Pope, Venture One's engineers.
Could you just help me orient this? What's on either side of this subject property?
Sure. Right. The best way to tell you.
Right. Oh, it's on that side. Okay, right. Both sides. You got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
What do you have as far as, I mean, it looks like it's one issue. Right here. What do you have as far as precedent that we should grant a 40% reduction? You tell me what you have as precedent. Write this in.
How many square feet is that? Do you know? Roughly?
So what?
I mean, roughly, just ballpark. It's it's enough to compare it to Marion.
What are the setbacks on the
No.
neighboring?
But when's the government? Right. How big is that jut, is what I'm saying? It's roughly
40 feet.
I'm sorry?
Linear feet?
Linear feet. Out of how many?
Oh, you're saying east-west.
No, I understand.
Wait. Yeah. Wait. Oh, stop. Stop. One at a time. We can't make the record.
So let this gentleman with the glasses, because he looks smart with glasses on. Let him. Right. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. That's my fault. Thank you.
437.
And you're 35 feet or so out of 437. Okay. Understood.
Oh. So 35 feet. 30. Listen to me.
Mr. Bruno's on the planning board. I'm younger and more handsome.
All right, let's stay focused. Stay focused. Just maybe the whole issue. The jut is 35 feet east to west.
Yes.
Out of 437 total.
Yeah, right.
I got you. I'm good. Thank you.
And that was my point.
Yes.
And I'm assuming planning has no objection. That was long getting around. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Next application number 256-22, BK21 Crossways LLC and SCL Huntley LLC, Huntley Mortgage MGRT LLC, excuse me, Huntley North Sheridan LLC, Huntley North MBG LLC, Huntley North KDG LLC, permission to subdivide parcels and reconfigure lot lines, leaving a building having a rear yard of 13.9 feet instead of the required 25 feet, and exterior lighting exceeding permitted illumination levels in the industrial corridor district, southeast corner of Veterans Memorial Highway, number 2550, and Crossway east of 21, Bohemia, New York, Welcome back, Mr. Gray, and name and address for the record, please.
I barely had time to miss you. Garrett Gray, Weber Law Group, 290 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, for the applicant. The principals are the same, who I've introduced to you before. They are also the owners of this project as well. The engineers are Langen. Christina Zaleski is here on behalf of Langen, who will testify. This parcel has an address of 2950 Vets Memorial Highway. It's on the corner, southeast corner of Vets Memorial Highway and 9th Avenue in Bohemia. It's approximately 9.7 acres, 78 acres. 9.78 acres, yes, with a frontage of 698.97 feet on Vets Memorial Highway. Zoned ICD. The two variances that we need today, one is a result of the lot line change between 21 Crossways East and 2950 Vets Memorial Highway. Again, the same owner owns both parcels. And one is a lighting where I believe 0.1 was the lowest we could get at one point of the property, which is in the corner up here by Vets Memorial Highway.
Okay,
I'm
can
gonna
someone
have
explain the lighting to me?
I'm going to have Christine Zaleski explain
Excellent,
the
thank
lighting to you.
Maybe I can. Take a shot.
This is Ryan Stoller, principal of.
Hang on a second. You folks want to take a look? I see. Go ahead. You could do that while they're talking to me. Yeah, you're going to need a flashlight because this, as the chairman said, no lighting.
Great light.
I served you that.
So, here, Ryan Stoller, that's T-O-L-L-E-R. So, what we're asking for is variant, lighting variant. We're able to achieve with 0.1, 0.6, very close to zero. Alternatively, to reach zero, we could erect a fence along the property line. There's fence, vegetation, trees that we would prefer to keep. What about the houses though, just?
The exit houses are all industrial.
Oh, those are industrial? Okay.
So from a contact standpoint, the people lighting share the more from.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Thank you, Jack.
Right there.
Oh, I see, okay.
Commercial buildings, that's the property line. And you can see the trees there as well. So in order to meet the code, you have to do what, in our opinion, be more detrimental to the surrounding community.
So in other words, you're saying it'll stay exactly as it is now, under your plan, right? That buffer, if you will?
The tree buffer, like correctly stated, yes.
Okay.
What
I
is
think,
this? I'm sorry. What is this all about? Why are you going through this whole exercise?
We are demolishing this building.
Wait. I don't know what this building is. There's a lot of buildings.
2950,
Still don't know which one.
veterans, which is this highlighted blue.
Okay, they're both, I mean, it's
The big building.
Big building.
Above that
Big
sign.
building.
You're demolishing that.
sir, you back away from the camera, I think. If anyone's watching us, that's
You're
okay.
demolishing that.
Listen, I prefer it, but
We're demolishing this building and building a new modern facility, similar use. But,
Is that going to conform with the code?
yeah, we're not asking for any other variances, and everything else.
and it'd be more, and it,
All right.
you gonna be leads compliant on that? Nothing.
So you're just moving, you asked Mr. to move the lot line so you can utilize that property, put that building in there. That's it.
Correct, so we own this facility and this facility, and either of these are as functional as they could be, it could be adjusted slightly, we're gonna improve both of the buildings.
Sure. Great, and I'm assuming planning has no objection. Okay. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Just come on up and name and address for the record, please, in the microphone so we can get it on the record.
Nick Figueredo, 27 Hill Drive, Bohemia, New York.
We came here, what? FIGORITL.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, no, we came here just because we had gotten a letter about the illumination, and we were concerned that it was along the back.
Stay at the podium, please, sir. So otherwise she can't hear you and we're not going to get it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we thought it was illumination on the back. This is where the houses are.
Right.
But it's not, it's on the side. So
So you're okay?
we had come to the planning board and, we had met with, everyone there. We were okay with the back there. We're gonna leave the woods back there and everything. So as long as the illumination isn't back there, because that's where the bedrooms of the houses are, I think we're okay with it. So we just came here because we were concerned about the housing, but it seems like it's on the building side.
I'm glad you came.
Thank you for
Wait,
coming.
wife has a question. They'll come over here and
You got it.
You gotta
do your-
us.
And you have to go to the
Well, then-
podium, please.
Wait.
Okay, so you went to the planning board for what exactly?
Originally, we went to the planning board.
No, I'm talking
Oh,
about
him?
this, Jeff. Yeah, I know where you went. You were concerned about your property. I got that.
The property is located in the ICD district, should be a special standard for industrial warehouse.
Okay.
Ma'am, you can't. If you have a question, you can address us.
She could talk to us.
Well, she couldn't talk while he was speaking because he can't hear. She can talk to you if she wants.
Marital, perfect. So do you want to, anything else?
No, like I said, we were concerned about the houses along the back. There's one of us on the side of the building.
Right. Good. There you go, at the end.
And the 13.9 foot rear yard is with the lot line being moved, correct?
Correct.
All right, does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Sullivan will take a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a
Thanks,
great
have a
night.
great night.
Yeah, Oh, I don't know. Yes. He said he didn't get the notice. Sure, call him up. We'll do it right now.
Okay, so let's continue our meeting and do a vote. No, we need another vote. How many do we have?
We have 11 accessory apartments to renew.
I make a motion to approve all 11.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Anything else? Any readings?
We have 4 readings.
Please.
Okay.
We can get out by daylight.
I'll be handing out.
April.
John Colton today.
You guys were still on.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mr. Sarah.
Okay, application number 759-21. Winton and Linda Johnson. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 12, 2022, the application is denied on motion of
All in favor?
Aye.
application number 814-21, Christopher Seda. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 12, 2022, the application is granted on motion of
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
application number 117-22, Kristen Perosi, Life Estate of Ann and Jean Perosi. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 12, 2022, the application is granted with the two-family family use only being for a period of 3 years. That's granted as amended, by the way, on motion of
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
application number 124-22, Stephen and Kayla Herrick. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated April 12, 2022, the application is granted on
Motion.
motion of
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our business this evening. I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah.